Oh my gosh. What's the best place for me to stand?
On a chair.
Of course.
Got a spotter.
All right, there are 3 rules. 1, don't let me fall down. 2, make sure all clothing is working as it is intended. And 3, that's actually only 2 I care about. We'll skip the 3rd. But I really want to thank Roger. I don't know where he went. I want to thank Al, who's always been incredibly supportive. I'm going to run through a list of incredible folks who are here, because if I don't read it, I will forget someone. So we have Representative Stephanie Garcia Richards, who's also running for mayor. We have the Espanola Public Schools President, Ruben Archuleta, is here. We have County Assessor, and he's running again, Levi Valdez. Bobby from last night, so he couldn't do his job. We're lucky enough to have Sheriff Lujan here. We also have, of course, Democratic Party Secretary Juan Ramon Vigil. It's too big. All right, so here are the candidates. Manuel Romero is running for sheriff. County Commissioner candidate, Councilwoman Michelle Martinez. County Commission candidate, Leo Jaramillo. County Commission candidate, James Martinez. State Representative candidates, Luis Sanchez on behalf of Joseph Sanchez. Okay, you can have this back. All right, so I know that, well, actually, I also want to introduce an old pal of mine who, if there's anybody who knows about grassroots campaigns, who also understands norteños. And I know that people won't believe it, but you should know, I'm a norteño. Look how tall I am. You gotta get on a chair, you're a norteño. But we've got the fabulous, and I would tell you, he's actually famous, Eric Serna, who does incredible national work that really makes a difference, right, for states like New Mexico. And of course, I don't need to introduce that he's not here, but I got to see Marco, who's going to be, I'm sure, one of the best district attorneys in the whole country. So I'm very proud of him. All right, so I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to do one step back, and then I promise I'm going to do no steps really forward on the chair. But I'll tell you the best thing about campaigning. Right, so I've lived in New Mexico my whole life. My only job out of state has been this job in Washington, D.C. So my entire career has been right here. I grew up in Santa Fe, and as we were coming into the restaurant, I look across the room, and a woman looks at me. And I think I recognize her, but I'm not sure. And she comes over to me, and she's got to be in her 80s, maybe older, and her name is Tilly Martinez. Tilly lives in Chimayo. Tilly took care of me when I was little. And from the time I had to apologize to her, it took like an hour for every mean thing I did as a teenager. Because Tilly drove every single day to my house in Santa Fe. Because my mother spent every single day taking care of my very sick and disabled sister. And without Tilly, right, that other adult, somebody who loved me, who loved my brother, who loved my sister, who knew when we were supposed to get home from school, who was clear that I wasn't going to do my homework unless she told me I had to, who cooked for me, who taught me how to do everything except tamales. I'm still a little mad about that. And when my sister was really sick, she was my family. She took me to Chimayo. And her son, Danny, reminded me that he was better at me, although I think he might have fibbed about that, at jumping on the trampoline. Now, the reason I tell you that story is it can be sometimes easy to forget when we get busy and our lives take whatever turn, particularly when lives for so many New Mexicans are so hard today, that we've forgotten that each of us has the most incredible family, whether it's everybody we're directly related to or all the people in our communities who help us succeed. And we're in an environment where the federal government and now our own state government has done every single thing they can to abandon the kinds of supports and resources that can make a difference. Now that other step, I want to talk about your mom, Dottie. I recently had the opportunity to do a congressional record, and I want to talk about what that is. A congressional record is a very easy thing for a member of Congress to do, but it is incredibly important about what it says about the person or the place that you're talking about in this record. And here's what it is. I get the ability to make a statement, to talk about value and about work, to really highlight the school-based health centers for taking risks in ways, right, that nobody was willing to do, particularly in small communities. Because when you're having to talk to a teenager or a mid schooler without the parents on very difficult behavioral health issues, particularly in a small community, that can be a bit uncomfortable, right? Because I'm a parent. Don't talk to me about how to raise my 2 daughters. But sometimes I'm not there, right? Sometimes I'm not watching the risks as they unfold. And if you don't have the courage to be in a place in a school where you do something about those risks, all can be lost. So Dottie had that courage. She brought school-based health centers with comprehensive services to kids right here. When I got to be Secretary of Health, I got to take credit for doubling the number of school-based health centers. It was bad credit given to me. The credit belongs with a local person, Dottie, who without any resources or support on her own, because you believe in her, and more importantly, she believes in you. She's right over there. Or touches with juvenile justice or truancy, every single one of those. We're a community, and I love this community, and I know that you do too, and I know that it hurts your feelings when there are drug abuse issues or alcoholism issues or truancy issues, things that really hurt our families, they hurt our feelings. If you're hurt, I'm hurt. She turned that around in this community and went from some of the worst teen pregnancy rates to some of the best, not just in New Mexico, but in the country for poor populations. This is amazing work, and this congressional record means that every New Mexican, everybody from the Valley, every family member, Dottie, from today for forever, this record and statement of accomplishment, this taking the courage and the challenge, will live in infamy forever, and anyone, anywhere in the world that goes to the Library of Congress will know about Dottie's work forever. And I wanted to tell those stories because that's why I'm running for governor. I actually, in this terrible climate in Congress, like my job. Because if I get somebody's veterans benefits, or we fix the hospital, or we start to address the VA clinic here, or we are working on economic designs, or we're trying to protect the environment, or we're investing in no more high-stake testing, but better educational outcomes. Hallelujah. This is good work, right, in Congress. But I want to come home, right? We need somebody who wants to work with you, who understands that I work for you, not the other way around. We're not going to make policy in the courts. We're not going to be draconian. We're not going to abandon New Mexicans. And I'll tell you what else we're not going to do. We're not going to have economic policy that works in the big cities, in Albuquerque, in Santa Fe. We're going to have an economic agenda that focuses right here. Because when Espanola and the Valley succeeds, I tell you, every community in the entire state will succeed. Every issue that we care about, from jobs, unemployment, to education, to real opportunities for our families. If we do it here, we will be doing it everywhere. And that is the whole reason. We have lost our way. Nobody works together. We don't have a cabinet or anybody in state government that has capacity in terms of leadership. They have abandoned the day-to-day workers. I can't tell you, there's not a community in the state that I haven't been to where I hear terrible stories about state employees who are disregarded and disrespected for their work. Yep. That is wrong. Listen, when people tell you that state government doesn't create jobs or that government has no role, it's because they don't like government, they don't care about government, and they don't know that good government is the vehicle for the private sector to grow the economy. Bad government creates an environment where nobody wants to grow the economy. So here's the vision. We have a rural economic agenda right here. I want to talk to you about Espanola. Do you know how Silicon Valley got started in California, which has some of the highest incomes, right? Highest job opportunities, highest spin-off for entrepreneurs in the country? A community college. A community college went to Stanford, did a deal, worked on veterans, and they started to spin off incredible high-tech work. Silicon Valley. Every young person in America wants to work as a Googler or in one of those other high-tech spin-off companies. We have one of the best community colleges in the state right here. We're right at Los Alamos with the labs. We have the perfect dynamic to determine right here that all that tech transfer happens here. And what if, you can clap for that. We had somebody in Congress, who would that be? Somebody standing on a chair who passed legislation in this terrible environment that didn't just make it permissive that the labs work with these community colleges to create real jobs and to create real tech transfer. What if they now have a mandate to do that? Well, guess what? The Department of Energy and the Department of Defense both now have mandates to do that work. So you come ready to lead. You come ready with a vision. We can do solar. We can do wind. We can do geothermal. New Mexico's the best state in the country to actually take that energy and get it where all the grids come together for the entire United States in Clovis. It's embarrassing that our state is not leading in that environment. We have every asset production, all of that environment. And with your incredible work in the arts community, this is where we have incredible opportunities for every small community to reap the benefits of those economic investments. So I want you to share in a can-do economic environment, that can-do economic environment that changes the vision not just for 1 or 2 terms for a governor, but for our families forever. But then will give us, I love you guys too, it gives us the opportunity right on to do something about the things that also really do need attention. We need a behavioral health system. We've got to be serious about it. One more child. That has to be our attitude, not one more. That everybody in this community and everybody in state government's got to be really clear that we have a responsibility and we have ideas on our campaign that if you will help us would create a dynamic that could change those outcomes for whole families. Let's take these families in early childhood education and in early environments and let's stay with them all the way till they're 18. Let's not abandon them in and out and in and out and in and out because they don't have the structure or the stability because they have not gotten the kind of support by your state and federal leaders that they deserve. You know, you stay the course, you work hard, you try to make it happen. You deserve that kind of attention in Santa Fe. And then the last thing I want to say is, this is a governor who has tried to divide us. All right? The legislature, the cities, the counties, the schools, the workers. We're the kind of state and community. Look at this community. Look at the diversity in this room and in the valley. This is a state that knows how to embrace diversity. Oh, yeah. It can share the strengths of every person in the room, who can shape a vision for tomorrow that doesn't just work temporarily, but it works over the long haul. I believe in us. I want to work with you. I want a new vision. I want a new attitude for success. We aren't going to have anger or divisive policy inside the governor's mansion or the 4th floor or the Capitol ever again. No winners and losers. Winners and winners. I need your help to do all that work from the economy to education to dealing with our behavioral health system. You got to help me win this election. All right? So we have a long way to go. I love it. It's so much fun. Wow, no one believed me. That's harsh. All right. It's not as fun as we're going to make it on the Michelle Lujan Grisham campaign. But Victor right back there, you can sign up right over here. I know you signed my petitions. I need your help in the pre-primary. Right? That's how you get on the ballot. It's 3 days of your life. I know it's a lot to ask, but if we want to change New Mexico, small investments, so let's do that. 2, I'm going to need resources in the primary and in the general. I'm running 2 campaigns at once because the Republican in this race does not have a primary. The Republican in the race continues to create attacks, and issues for the general that I'm responding to successfully. We'll keep doing that. But I also have a primary, so I'm spending resources and campaigning and doing grassroots work on the primary. That means I got to do it both at once. That means that when I win the election in June, my Republican opponent's got $5 million. We spent our resources creating a movement. We have to be ready for both. We have to work hard right now. We have to have a movement that transcends having to have that gap in resources right after the primary election. So here's what I need to know. I need to know that you're willing to work.
Yes.
And I promise I will work hard for you every single day. And I've gotten the chance to do that. So I'm so honored. If Nick Salazar was here, I learned to be a good government person because of Representative Nick Salazar. I know he's an icon in this community. I walked into state government as one of those appointees in the King administration. I stayed for 18 years as an appointee because I listened to a very valuable lesson that has shaped my career and my life, and I was lucky to have it in that moment. Because I came in, I studied aging policy. And after all, I'm a lawyer, so I know everything about anything. And I was 30, so just ask me how experienced I am. And I marched into that job with the wrong attitude. I marched into a job in 1991 as a young person in state government who felt like I could change the world by myself. That's a bad attitude. 2, that I had all the expertise that anybody needed. I mean, I know a lot about senior citizens. I had my parents. I need no other expertise, right? Shallow aspect. And I knew the role of government could be so much better in the quality of lives of senior constituents, but I don't know that I valued the day-to-day sacrifices that the workers in state government were making every day. So I had a bad attitude. I came in there and I went into the legislature to tell them, this is what you will give me in a minute, this is how it will work, and these are my priorities. And Nick Salazar said, I don't think so. Right? And I'll tell you why I don't think so. Because until you come into my neighborhood, and until you meet all of the elder participants in the programs that I know about, I'm not going to listen to a thing you say. And I was appalled that legislator, because I'm the appointee, didn't listen to me. And I tried to take on Nick Salazar. Now let me tell you who won. Okay, it was Nick Salazar. But we forged the most incredible relationship because he had the patience to tell a young person, you're wrong. And if you're willing to put in the time and hard work, I'll give you the vehicle and the roadmap. And I listened to him. It was the best thing I ever did in my career. And I got to stay for 3 governors. I always remembered, and I do today, and you were the experts. I'm just the vehicle to make sure that the things that you care about and believe in get done. And that's what I submit to you today. The things that you care about and believe in will get done.
Could you touch on briefly the new energy economy, renewable energy, and the potential we have in Rio Arriba and across our state? We rely on oil and gas, fossil fuels. I want to hear passionately. I'm just waiting for a leader that's going to bring this forward for Nuevo Mexico.
I love you. All right, clean energy economy. So we put out policies called Jumpstart New Mexico. Right at the very top is we're going to make New Mexico the clean energy state. I've been endorsed by conservation voters because I'm committed to the highest possible renewable energy standards that we're going to put in the law. So we follow a template. We're going to join the regional transmission authorities. We're going to finish our transmission lines in time for 2020 so that we get those tax credits right in the door. So the day one, I'm in the authority, I'm managing those transmission lines, I'm getting as much broadband embedded into federal investments as I can right now. We're going to need broadband, and then we're going to invest in solar, wind, and geothermal. It's the sweet spot. We have the ability to do all of it. These are some of the highest paying jobs anywhere, not just here, but in the country. We got wind in Clovis. We got wind coming in Torrance County. Sandia Labs is revitalizing the way in which we store solar energy. That technology is happening right in our backyard. We just need someone who says, these are the requirements. You set those requirements in law, and now that's where the investments must go. So absolutely, and we are going to be a leader in a new clean energy economy. And we're going to move on. We're going to use Colorado's model. Has anybody seen Colorado? Well, I challenge you all to get online after this event and go to CAVU, C-A-V-U. Something that Hickenlooper did that I really believe in. Look, oil and gas has a role. Our local producers are providing the income that we need in this state. But they got to share in a productive switch and effort into a clean energy economy. They have to do methane mitigation. We just put out that policy. Listen, that's hundreds of millions of dollars back into our economy, and it's the right public health. The worst methane hotspot in the country is in San Juan County. We can't have it. But what Hickenlooper did is he put all the environmental advocates and experts and all the local oil and gas people into a room. And he was in that room. And nobody left until they struck a path forward so that you reduced your reliance, you increased, right, your methane mitigation, you did everything, not anything, everything, right, for clean air and clean water, and you moved into a green energy economy, and you know they're still on the same page in Colorado. We can do that, and I believe we can do one step better.
Yeah.
All right? That's got to be our attitude. I don't leave the room until we've got that ready to rock and roll. All right, one more question. I know it's hot. Yes, sir.
An issue confronting the DOE and Los Alamos and the community here in northern New Mexico is what will become of the plans to produce 80 new pits per year at Los Alamos, starting in now and going for the next 10 years, ramping up to 80 pits per year in 10 years. There's a plan to do it at Los Alamos. There's also a plan to do it at Savannah River. And so what is your position relative to that issue? Do you have a coherent point of view?
Well, you're going to have to tell me if it's coherent, but I appreciate it's a hard issue. So the pit production at Los Alamos, two things. Incredible part of their overall mission and investments. Controversial because Savannah wants it. Controversial also because pit production has environmental concerns and issues. So I think what you mean by coherent policy and clear that you have an economic issue as well as an environmental one.
Well, it's also a moral issue.
And a moral issue.
A moral issue. Do we want to continue to be the center of a nuclear weapons industry?
So I will tell you this about the nuclear weapons industry. So we may be completely together, we may not. I was born in Los Alamos. I'm clear that many of the efforts engaged in our research and responsibility as part of the nuclear complex led to some pretty amazing innovations, not the least of which is nuclear medicine. Understanding where we started and where we are, it would be lovely if we were working with the labs to make sure that they're leading the country and the world in newer research and a new dynamic. Can I tell you that that's really what's going on in Congress? Not quite. Are we ready to talk about where we are in terms of nuclear deterrence, and our nuclear investments? They are not. Are we going to have a defense budget that I think really talks about peace and creates the right national security policy? I'm afraid to tell you I don't think so. But what I want you to know is I would fight hard as a governor to make sure that the labs have the resources they need to keep being the economic engines for the state. But that doesn't mean that we can't be open to a variety of new environmental protections and policies that would protect future generations in New Mexico.
Isn't she great? One item before. We already have a committee to help Michelle get elected. We've got your names. We'd like to call you and ask you to start coming to our meetings so that we can have a big force come June, first Tuesday in June, right?
First Tuesday
And
in
we
June.
need to all get out there and help her. I'm sure this isn't the last time we'll see her here, but she's great.
As long as there's red chili in Espanola, I'm here. And chicos and green chili and sopapillas and salsa. Here.
So Michelle, this morning you mentioned at another event about what's going on in Congress and you know how everybody's just going crazy there. And the way to do it is to look at the states and look at the Democratic governors and look at your attorney generals. And I would love if you would just mention what you mentioned this morning.
Grandma, you're so nice. All right, so there's a bunch of stuff about being governor. Look, I want to be governor because I want to make a difference for New Mexicans. I want to be part of that effort. But governors have incredible responsibility today. One I didn't mention, redistricting occurs in 2020. Right? And while I have a unique ability, and I'm proud of that, to get things done in a broken, dysfunctional Congress that gets more dysfunctional by the day. Redistricting is the way in which we create an environment where we've got more equality in an institution that needs to be addressed immediately. And two, look, states can really band together against the things that a Trump administration. Take our monuments, governors put them back. Have draconian efforts at the border that hurt our trade and our ability. I mean, we have a $1.5 billion economic partnership with Mexico. We cannot erode that. All right? The southern border states can band together. They can work with the attorney generals. They can file lawsuits about tax policy. They can file lawsuits about health care policy. They can file lawsuits and stay some of these draconian efforts because that's the way we protect New Mexicans from things that will hurt us at the federal level, while at the same time leading on issues that will advance our priorities. So I really appreciate that, and I'm clear about the issues that will require all of us to work hard to protect ourselves from a very myopic, unfair, unjust federal administration. And it came up because I'm leading negotiations for both the Senate and the House, bipartisan, on trying to protect dreamers. And thank you. Here's how I describe it. It is a microscopic needle. Maybe it's the size of a hair. I've got a rope that I gotta get through there, but I'm optimistic. And I know many others are saying it's just too close to the end of the year. I can't have that attitude. This is something we must win for all the right reasons. The risks are far too high. But it is clear to me that having those relationships will work very effectively at being a governor and working with other governors to change the dynamic of the agenda. Happy holidays, everybody!